There are times in life when the best response you can give is silence. We live in a world that thrives on noise, reactions, quick comebacks, and heated arguments. Everyone has something to say and everyone wants to be heard. But there's a hidden power in silence, a strength that goes beyond words, beyond actions, beyond even explanations. You see, when you choose silence, you're doing more than just not speaking. You're sending a message that's hard to decode. People will wonder why you're not responding. They'll question what's going on in your mind. You create a mystery that only grows. And in that silence, they'll reveal more about themselves than you ever needed to hear. Silence is control. When someone is trying to bait you to get under your skin, they want a reaction, they feed off it. And when you refuse to give them that, you take away their power. In that moment, your silence becomes your shield, a barrier that keeps their words from touching you. And when you observe in silence, you learn. You see things people try to hide behind their words. You see intentions, motives, fears, and insecurities. Because while you stay silent, they keep talking, revealing themselves and giving you a clearer picture than any words could describe. People will assume they know you, think they have you figured out. They'll assign motives to your actions and judge your silence. Let them. Because in their attempts to define you, they only expose their own misunderstandings. Silence breaks those assumptions wide open. It challenges their sense of certainty, makes them question everything they thought they knew. This kind of silence isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's knowing when to step back, when to let others exhaust themselves, when to let them wrestle with their own assumptions. It's a form of dignity, a statement that says, I don't need to prove anything. I am enough just as I am. So when you feel that urge to defend, to explain, to react, take a breath. Hold that silence. Let it work for you. Because in that silence lies a power most people will never understand. When we choose silence over words, we unlock a power that few truly understand. Silence doesn't mean weakness or passivity. It means strength, self-restraint, and wisdom. There are moments in life when no response is the most impactful response, when saying nothing makes the strongest statement. People are used to reacting to quick words and easy explanations, but when you hold back, you shift the entire dynamic. You communicate in a language beyond words, one that can only be felt. Silence demands attention. When people expect you to speak, to respond, to fill the empty space, your choice not to gives them pause. They lean in, trying to read you, trying to understand what you're thinking, what you're feeling. The absence of words makes them work harder to understand you, to connect the dots. And in that space, they often reveal their own insecurities, their own assumptions, while you remain untouched. Holding your silence is a discipline. It's the ability to resist the urge to explain, defend, or engage. When we're silent, we gain clarity. We allow our minds to process, to observe, and to truly listen. We don't clutter our thoughts with half-formed words or quick reactions. We create space for deeper understanding. In that silence, we watch and we learn more about others and ourselves. Your silence says, I don't need to justify myself to you. It holds a certain mystery that speaks of confidence, of a calm strength that doesn't rely on external validation. When you're silent, you're not giving anyone the power to define you with their assumptions or judgments. You let your actions, your presence, your integrity speak for themselves. Silence isn't empty, it's full of meaning. It's a tool, a strategy, and sometimes even a shield. By saying nothing, you say everything that needs to be said. Maintaining control over your reactions is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It's easy to let emotions take the wheel, to respond impulsively when someone pushes your buttons or tries to get a rise out of you. But true strength lies in keeping your composure, in deciding that you and not someone else will dictate how you feel and act. It's the difference between living reactively and living purposefully, between being controlled by your emotions and mastering them. When you control your reactions, you stay grounded. You create a buffer that allows you to assess what's happening without getting swept away by immediate feelings. People will try to provoke you, to get you to respond on their terms, to knock you off balance. They're looking for a crack, a sign of vulnerability and opening. but when you keep calm, they find nothing to latch onto. Instead of losing your power to anger or frustration, you hold on to it, and that strength shows. Remaining in control means choosing not to let others dictate your mood or disrupt your peace. It allows you to step back and evaluate the situation from a place of clarity rather than emotion. You begin to see people's intentions more clearly, to recognize their motives, and to respond in ways that serve your goals rather than theirs. When you master your reactions, you gain freedom. You're no longer a puppet to anyone's games or attempts to unsettle you. This control doesn't come overnight. It takes practice and patience. It's about training yourself to pause, to take a breath, and to ask yourself if reacting is worth your energy. Is this moment truly worth breaking your peace, losing your focus? Often, you'll find that it's not. By staying in control, you build resilience, a calm center that people come to respect, sometimes even fear, because they realize they can't manipulate or rattle you. You become steady, unshakable, a person of depth and discipline. This composure gives you a profound advantage, one that lets you face challenges with a level head and a strong spirit. In a world that thrives on quick reactions and heated exchanges, your control over your reactions sets you apart, making your responses more powerful and purposeful than any impulsive words ever could. Letting silence be your strength means recognizing that sometimes the most powerful statement is the one left unsaid. In a world driven by constant chatter, instant replies, and the demand to be heard, silence has become an art and a tool for those who know how to wield it. By choosing silence, you decide to hold your own power, to ground yourself rather than allowing others to draw you into their games, their drama, or their chaos. Silence says, I am in control, not my circumstances, not anyone else. Silence is strength because it shows restraint. While anyone can argue, react, or shout their perspective, it takes a rare kind of discipline to simply let the moment pass. Silence requires no validation. It doesn't need to win an argument, to explain, or to justify. It conveys a deep self-assurance, a message that you don't need others' approval or understanding to stand firm in who you are. In silence, you listen more than you speak. You observe rather than react, giving you a clearer understanding of the people and the situation around you. You pick up on subtleties, unspoken cues, and real intentions. Silence allows you to gain insight without giving anything away, building a wisdom that words often obscure. You become the observer, watching and learning while others reveal themselves in their rush to speak, to explain, to prove something. Silence also builds mystery. When you choose not to speak, you create a gap that others can't easily fill. People begin to wonder what you're thinking, why you're not responding, what you're holding back. And in that wonder, they reveal their own insecurities and assumptions. You command a certain presence simply by not speaking, by letting others project their thoughts onto your silence, and often they'll reveal more than they realize. In difficult moments, silence becomes your shield. When people push your buttons or try to provoke you, responding only gives them what they want. But silence robs them of control. It's a quiet, unshakable strength that shows you won't be swayed or manipulated. You refuse to hand over your peace, your power, or your focus to anyone. Choosing silence doesn't mean doing nothing. It's an intentional decision to protect your inner strength. It means allowing yourself the room to think, to strategize, and to stay grounded in your own values. It's a strength that grows from self-awareness and the understanding that not every situation deserves your reaction. Silence then becomes a profound tool, not of avoidance, but of power and presence. In silence, you make a choice to act on your own terms, to hold your strength close, and to rise above. Observing without interference is a practice of patience and awareness, a way of engaging with the world that allows you to see things as they are, not as others want you to see them. It's about stepping back, watching events unfold, and letting people reveal their true selves without jumping in, without trying to influence or shape the outcome. By observing without interference, you become a student of life, someone who gathers insight and wisdom by simply paying attention. This approach requires you to silence the urge to react immediately. We live in a society that encourages fast responses and instant judgments, but observation asks you to pause. To be fully present, You must let go of the need to control or direct the situation. Instead, you watch closely, noticing the details others might miss, the small actions that say more than words ever could. When you observe without interference, you see what people do when they think no one's watching, revealing their authentic nature. Observing allows you to notice patterns, to see recurring behaviors and subtle signals. You begin to understand how certain situations unfold, how people react under pressure, and where they reveal their strengths and weaknesses. By taking a step back, you gain perspective, and with it, a deeper understanding of motives, intentions, and unspoken truths. You learn not just from what people say, but from how they act, from the tension in their body language, the tone of their voice, the look in their eyes. This type of observation also builds patience. It teaches you that everything doesn't need your immediate involvement, that some situations benefit from your silence and your watchful eye. It requires a certain humility and acceptance that you don't need to fix or alter every situation or person. By resisting the urge to step in, you respect the natural flow of events, trusting that clarity will come to you in time without forcing the issue. Observing without interference doesn't mean you're indifferent or disengaged. It means you're gathering wisdom. You're allowing yourself to understand situations on a deeper level before making any decisions. This skill builds emotional intelligence, teaching you to respond with intention rather than impulse. When you finally choose to act, it's from a place of clarity and purpose, informed by what you've seen rather than what you assume. Ultimately, observing without interference is about valuing insight over involvement. It's about choosing to be fully present, to understand, and to let people and situations reveal themselves in their own time. By holding back, you position yourself as a source of calm and wisdom, ready to act only when truly necessary and always with a clear sense of purpose. In this way, observation becomes a powerful tool that allows you to navigate life with a depth of understanding and strength that few ever reach. Silence has a unique power to break assumptions, to shatter the labels and judgments others may hastily place upon you. When you choose silence over explanation, you refuse to confirm what others think they know, and that refusal unsettles them. People are quick to make assumptions. They see your actions, hear a few words, and think they understand who you are, what you want, and where you stand. But when you respond with silence, you deny them the clarity they crave, forcing them to question their conclusions. In silence, you leave room for others to reflect on their assumptions. People will naturally fill the void left by your silence with their own ideas, their own interpretations, often exposing their biases and insecurities. When you don't react or explain, they're left with only their own projections. Without the feedback they expect, they begin to realize that their understanding of you might not be as complete as they thought. This causes a subtle shift, a discomfort that often leads them to reevaluate their judgments. Silence also invites curiosity. When you don't conform to others' expectations by immediately defending or explaining yourself, you create a sense of mystery. People start to wonder why you're silent, what you're holding back, or what you know that they don't. That curiosity can dismantle assumptions in ways that words never could. Your silence suggests a depth beyond easy comprehension, a strength that doesn't need validation or agreement from others. By refusing to fill the silence with explanations, you also protect your energy and dignity. You don't allow assumptions to dictate your actions or words. Instead, you stay grounded in your truth, undisturbed by what others may think. Silence is a boundary, a quiet yet powerful statement that says, your opinion does not define me, and in maintaining this boundary, you remind others that their assumptions are just that, assumptions, not facts. Over time, silence teaches others that you are not easily categorized or understood. It demonstrates that you don't owe anyone an explanation or a justification for who you are. In breaking their assumptions, silence allows you to stand fully in your own authenticity, beyond the reach of labels or limited judgments. Through silence, you redefine yourself on your own terms, leaving space for others to see you as you are, unboxed, unbound, and unapologetically whole. Silence has a way of building mystery that words simply cannot replicate. When you choose not to speak, not to immediately share your thoughts or feelings, you create an aura of intrigue that makes people take notice. Silence holds an unspoken allure, a depth that others sense but cannot fully understand, and it draws them in, making them curious about what lies beneath the surface. In a world where everyone rushes to voice their opinions and display their emotions, Your silence stands out. It suggests that there's more to you than meets the eye. This mystery challenges people's expectations. They may think they have you figured out, but when you remain silent, it unsettles those assumptions. They can't pin you down or put you neatly into a category. Your silence leaves them wondering, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What might you know that they don't? Without a response, without a reaction, you create space for questions to arise, questions that only you have the answers to. Silence also hints at confidence. People often equate speaking up with strength, but silence shows an inner assurance that doesn't rely on external validation. It suggests you are comfortable in your own thoughts, that you don't feel the need to explain or justify yourself to others. This self-possession, this choice to let mystery build in your silence, makes people view you with a certain respect, even awe. They realize you are someone who doesn't need to prove anything, someone who moves on their own terms. Mystery also allows you to maintain your boundaries. By not revealing everything, by not laying all your thoughts and emotions bare, you keep parts of yourself private, reserved. Others cannot easily access or understand these aspects of you, and that unknown becomes a source of fascination. They are drawn to what they cannot see, what they cannot predict, and in that attraction lies a subtle power. You remain somewhat out of reach, a presence they can't fully grasp. Furthermore, silence creates anticipation. People start to wonder if and when you'll finally speak and what you might say when you do. The longer you hold your silence, the more they lean in, waiting for something profound or insightful. By the time you do choose to speak, your words carry extra weight. They break the silence that everyone has been tuned into. Silence then becomes a way of commanding attention and creating impact without saying a single word. Ultimately, by choosing silence, you cultivate an air of mystery that compels others to look deeper, to question, and to seek out what they don't yet understand. Silence allows you to hold on to your secrets, your insights, and your inner life. It gives you control over what you reveal and what you keep hidden, letting you move through life with an allure that's as powerful as it is elusive. In silence, you remind others that there's a world within you, one they'll only glimpse if you choose to let them. Silence has the remarkable ability to redirect power in any interaction. When faced with confrontation, criticism, or manipulation, our instinct is often to respond, to defend, to push back. But silence offers a different, more potent approach. By choosing not to react, you shift the balance of power back to yourself. Instead of letting someone else set the terms of the conversation, you establish a presence that doesn't rely on words to command respect and attention. In doing so, you hold on to your control, refusing to be pulled into someone else's agenda. Silence denies others the satisfaction of a reaction. People who try to provoke or manipulate often thrive on the responses they elicit. They feed off the energy of others' reactions, using it to bolster their own position. But when you meet their words with silence, you deny them this power. Without a reaction, they have nothing to fuel their efforts, and their attempts to rattle you fall flat. In the quiet, they're left to wrestle with their own words, to confront their own motives without the energy they expected to receive from you. By remaining silent, you also create a moment of reflection. Silence disrupts the momentum of a heated exchange, making others stop and question their own actions. Your silence sends a message that you are not easily swayed, that you are in control of your own reactions, and that you don't need to engage on anyone else's terms. This pause forces others to reevaluate their approach, and often they find themselves feeling uncertain, even unsettled by your restraint. Silence can also transform the dynamics of respect. When you don't immediately respond, people begin to sense that you are a person who values their own peace, who does not bend to the whims of others. This quiet confidence becomes a form of unspoken strength, one that others can sense and often admire. You become someone who holds their own ground without needing to announce it, someone who demonstrates control simply by staying calm and composed. In moments of silence, you gain the time and space to observe, to think, and to decide how you truly want to respond. You don't let emotion or pressure dictate your words or actions. Instead, you create a deliberate distance, allowing you to choose the best course of action rather than being swept along by someone else's energy. Silence then becomes a powerful form of self-possession, a way of protecting your energy, preserving your dignity, and ensuring that when you do choose to speak, it's on your own terms. Ultimately, silence allows you to hold on to your power without ever raising your voice. It's a quiet refusal to be controlled by the expectations or demands of others. In choosing silence, you make it clear that you alone govern your responses, and in that choice, you redirect the power dynamic, turning the situation in your favor. Silence is one of the most effective ways to frustrate manipulation. Manipulators rely on provoking a response. They thrive on pushing buttons and drawing people into their games. They use words to influence, to deceive, or to guilt, hoping to steer others into reactions that serve their agenda. But when you meet manipulation with silence, you deny them the reaction they need. Without a response to work with, manipulators find their power slipping. They can't gain control over you when you refuse to play into their tactics. In silence, you create a barrier that prevents manipulative words from affecting you. By choosing not to respond, you make it clear that their attempts are ineffective. This lack of reaction sends a strong message. You're aware of their games and you're not interested in participating. Manipulators expect people to react emotionally, to feel compelled to defend themselves or justify their actions. But when you remain silent, you resist their influence, showing that their words have no hold over you. Silence also makes manipulators uncomfortable. They expect their strategies to stir up responses, to put others on the defensive. But when met with silence, they're forced to deal with the tension they created. This can lead them to second guess themselves, to feel insecure or even exposed. By not reacting, you turn the focus back on them, leaving them to confront the emptiness of their own tactics. They're left wondering what you're thinking, why you're not responding, and how to move forward. Silence puts them in a position they don't expect, one that often makes them uneasy. Without your engagement, manipulators lose their sense of control. Silence robs them of the chance to twist your words, to use your emotions against you, or to steer the conversation in their direction. Instead of being able to manipulate your reactions, they find themselves isolated in their own efforts. In the absence of a response, they lack the fuel they need to keep their manipulation going. By choosing silence, you take back your power, showing that you won't be easily led or controlled. This kind of response requires inner strength and restraint, but it allows you to maintain your integrity and composure. Silence becomes a shield, a way to protect your peace and your self-respect without getting entangled in someone else's agenda. Through silence, you frustrate manipulation and stand firm in your own strength, untouched by the schemes of others. Silence creates a sanctuary for self-reflection, offering you the time and space to look inward, free from the noise and distractions of the outside world. When everything quiets down, you're left with only your own thoughts, your own feelings, and a chance to understand them more deeply. In this stillness, you can explore parts of yourself that often go unnoticed in the rush of daily life. Silence gives you the freedom to examine your motivations, your reactions, and your desires without the pressure of external voices. It's a rare chance to check in with yourself, to assess whether you're aligned with your values and true intentions. In silence, you begin to notice things that might otherwise be overlooked. You start to observe your own patterns, both positive and negative, and to see where they come from. Perhaps you realize that certain actions are rooted in old fears or habits that no longer serve you. Or maybe you recognize strengths and abilities you hadn't fully appreciated before. Silence allows these insights to come to the surface, revealing truths that help you grow and make choices that feel more authentic. Self-reflection in silence also nurtures a sense of clarity. In a world full of constant input, it's easy to lose track of what's truly important to you. Silence cuts through the clutter, giving you a chance to reconnect with your core beliefs and priorities. It lets you separate your own voice from the noise, helping you to make decisions that are grounded in who you are, not in the expectations or judgments of others. When you take the time to listen to yourself, you become more confident in your choices, more assured in your direction. This process of reflection can be transformative, but it's also deeply personal. Silence allows you to face yourself honestly, to acknowledge both your strengths and your areas for growth. You can reflect on past experiences, understanding what you've learned and how you've changed. This honest self-assessment is where true growth begins, helping you to move forward with a stronger sense of self-awareness and purpose. In silence, you also develop patience and acceptance. Rather than rushing to conclusions or forcing yourself to come up with answers, you give yourself permission to simply be, to sit with your thoughts without needing immediate solutions. This kind of self-reflection teaches you to be gentle with yourself, to recognize that personal growth is a journey rather than a destination. It reminds you that understanding yourself is an ongoing process, one that requires both time and compassion. Ultimately, silence becomes a powerful tool for personal growth. It gives you the opportunity to step back, to explore who you are beneath the surface, and to gain a deeper understanding of what truly matters to you. In this quiet space, you find strength, clarity, and a renewed sense of purpose. Through self-reflection, silence becomes more than just the absence of noise. It becomes a path to self-discovery and a means of building a life that feels both meaningful and true. Silence embodies a profound form of dignity, a quiet strength that speaks volumes without uttering a single word. When you choose silence, you demonstrate an inherent respect for yourself and the situation at hand. It signals that you understand your worth, that you don't feel the need to fill the air with noise or engage in empty chatter. This choice reflects an inner confidence and composure that commands respect from others. In a world often characterized by loud voices and frantic exchanges, your silence stands as a powerful statement of self-respect and self-awareness. Silence allows you to maintain your dignity in the face of provocation. When confronted with disrespect or negativity, the immediate urge may be to respond, to defend yourself, or to retaliate. However, by opting for silence, you refuse to stoop to a level that undermines your integrity. You take the higher ground, showing that you will not engage in a battle that serves no purpose. This restraint not only preserves your dignity, but also elevates your status in the eyes of others. People often respect those who can remain calm and composed, those who can hold their peace in the face of chaos. Moreover, silence reflects a deep understanding of boundaries. It indicates that you know where to draw the line, that you won't allow others to dictate your emotional state or compel you into conflict. By maintaining your silence, you assert your autonomy, choosing to protect your energy rather than waste it on fruitless exchanges. This decision to remain quiet is a declaration of self-worth, a reminder that your thoughts and feelings are valuable and shouldn't be subjected to trivial disputes. In moments of silence, you also create space for contemplation. Rather than rushing to fill silence with noise, you allow yourself the opportunity to reflect on your thoughts and feelings. This introspection is a dignified act, one that acknowledges your complexity and the importance of understanding your own mind. You embrace the silence as a chance to gather your thoughts, to sort through your emotions, and to process what's truly happening within and around you. Furthermore, silence can serve as a powerful tool for communication. Sometimes what is left unsaid carries more weight than any spoken word. In certain situations, a thoughtful silence can convey empathy, understanding, or even disapproval without the need for explanations. It allows others to feel the gravity of the moment, and it invites them to consider their own actions and words. Your silence can become a mirror for others, reflecting back the weight of their behavior and encouraging self-examination. Ultimately, silence is a form of dignity that empowers you to navigate life with grace and poise. It represents a commitment to self-respect and an understanding of your own value. In choosing silence, you embrace your authenticity, standing firm in who you are and what you believe. It allows you to respond to life's challenges with a calm assurance, knowing that your dignity is preserved regardless of the external noise. Through silence, you embody a quiet strength, one that inspires others to recognize the power of restraint and the beauty of a well-timed pause.